Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time joining us, I want you to take a moment. Settle in and focus. What we're covering today is not just another piece of news, it's a substantive development that could fundamentally alter the landscape for anyone holding Iraqi dinar. Information has come to light regarding a specific legal provision and newly clarified pathway that outlines how to legally exchange your dinar holdings with a potential for zero tax liability. That phrase, zero taxes, is understandably generating intense discussion. This isn't speculation or a theoretical future promise. This is an analysis of an existing legal framework that provides clarity where there has been mostly confusion for years. If you've been awaiting clear, legitimate guidance on how to navigate the complexities of your dinar investment, this discussion is designed for you. I will break down what this entails, step by step, in straightforward terms, so you can understand the mechanism, the requirements, and the very real opportunities and limitations this framework presents. For a significant period, holders of Iraqi dinar have operated in a space defined by uncertainty. Whether you've held your currency quietly or been part of public discussions, the questions have been consistent and daunting. What are the tax rules? What is the correct legal procedure for an exchange? The fear of making a procedural error, of triggering an unexpected liability, or of engaging with unapproved channels has caused widespread hesitation. This uncertainty hasn't just been an inconvenience, it has represented a genuine financial risk, leading to frustration and, for some, a paralysis that prevented any action at all. The value of the development we're discussing today lies in its potential to replace that fog of uncertainty with a structured, legal process. It provides a framework, a set of rules and procedures that aims to protect the investor by establishing clear boundaries and expectations. It seeks to clarify tax implications, outline compliant methodologies, and specify the exact steps required to align with government regulations. This moves the conversation from the realm of guesswork and gray areas into the domain of actionable, documented information. The first critical point to understand is the scope of this legal provision. It is designed to apply to U.S. citizens as well as international holders of the currency. This is a crucial distinction. It means that whether you purchase dinar as a long-term investment, as a form of savings, or as a speculative asset, these guidelines are intended to create a pathway for you. The foundational principle is that exchanges can be executed legally and without penalty, provided every step meticulously adheres to the rules codified within this framework. For many investors, this comes as a profound shift. The process of exchanging dinar has historically felt opaque, shrouded in concerns about hidden tax liabilities, complex reporting requirements, and severe penalties for missteps. This legal structure aims to remove that blanket of uncertainty by establishing a clear protocol. It provides a documented process that, when followed precisely, is designed to allow for an exchange without the immediate fear of crippling tax liabilities. This is not a loophole or a secret. It is the intended function of a structured compliance pathway. So, how does this mechanism actually function in practice? At its core, the process mandates engagement with authorized financial institutions and strict adherence to specific reporting protocols. It requires the completion of detailed documentation. The design is meant to be straightforward, with the ultimate goal of making a compliant exchange as smooth and efficient as possible. By utilizing these approved channels, you are not just completing a transaction, you are actively protecting yourself from future legal complications. You are ensuring that your actions are formally recognized and compliant with the law. A pivotal aspect of this framework is its distinction between two classes of holders, the private investor and the institutional entity. This distinction is not minor. It dictates the scale of reporting, the level of scrutiny, and the specific documentation required. For the private investor, the individual holder, the provisions are structured to allow for an exchange without an immediate tax liability, provided all conditions are met. This is the aspect that brings significant relief to those who have been waiting for a defined, legal way to proceed. For institutional holders, such as banks or large funds, the requirements are more extensive, but the framework provides clear guidelines for them as well. For you, the individual, the focus must remain laser-sharp on the provisions designed for the private investor. Adhering strictly to these is how you avoid unnecessary complexity, ensure compliance, and position yourself to benefit from the stipulated tax treatment. A natural and urgent question rises: are there limits? Does this framework impose caps on the amount of dinar one can exchange under its provisions? The available analysis suggests the law is designed to accommodate legitimate, reasonable holdings. Its intent appears to be facilitating legal access to funds, not creating arbitrary barriers that penalize investors who have followed the rules. The goal is to enable people to transition their assets legally, safely, and efficiently. Equally critical is the mandate to use authorized institutions. This means specific banks, designated financial entities, and approved exchange centers that are formally recognized and regulated for this purpose. Using these channels is non-negotiable for ensuring the transaction's legality and your personal protection. Attempting to circumvent these approved channels, to seek a quicker or less documented path, inherently introduces risk and could void the very protections the framework is designed to offer. For many, the most impactful element is the potential for zero tax liability. This means that, under the specific conditions and procedures of this framework, legally exchanging your dinar would not trigger an immediate federal income tax event on the principal amount exchanged. It is vital to understand this provision is not a blanket immunity, it is a specific outcome of following a highly structured process. This aspect is groundbreaking because it directly addresses what has been a primary obstacle: the fear of a sudden, overwhelming tax bill that could erase a significant portion of the exchange value. That fear has been a powerful deterrent, and this framework seeks to remove it, provided every box is checked and every line is signed. Transparency and documentation are the twin pillars supporting this entire structure. The law explicitly requires that every exchange be thoroughly documented, with records maintained by both the investor and the financial institution executing the transaction. This is not bureaucratic red tape. It is a fundamental safeguard. It ensures the transaction is fully traceable, auditable, and protected from future disputes. It provides a verifiable paper trail that serves your security as much as it serves regulatory compliance. So, what is the practical, step-by-step path forward if you wish to explore this legal exchange pathway? First, and most importantly, you must identify and work exclusively with an authorized institution. This is the bedrock of the process. Do not engage with unverified sources, private online platforms, or individual brokers making promises. Second, you must meticulously gather and prepare all required documentation. This will almost certainly include definitive proof of ownership of the currency, government-issued identification, and detailed records of your original acquisition, such as purchase receipts or certificates. Third, you must follow, to the letter, the reporting guidelines stipulated by both the law and authorized institution you choose. This is not a process where you can afford to cut corners or make assumptions. Completing these steps with precision is what transforms an uncertain holding into a legally recognized transaction. A common concern is complexity. Will this process be overwhelmingly complicated or time-consuming? While it demands attention to detail and procedural rigor, the framework is designed to be navigable. It was established with the understanding that private investors would need to use it. The goal is accessibility within a context of strict compliance. That said, it is not an instant or casual process. It requires patience and thoroughness. Another significant benefit embedded in this framework is legal protection. By adhering to the prescribed procedures, your transaction is shielded from certain types of legal challenges or audit disputes. This formal protection is a key reason this development carries weight. It offers not just a potential financial benefit, but something arguably more valuable: clarity and peace of mind. For those paralyzed by past uncertainty, this provides a map where there was only a void. Regarding timing, a logical question emerges: when is the optimal moment to initiate this process? The answer is inherently personal but guided by prudence. You should act once you are fully prepared, once your documentation is in order and you have verified your chosen institution. There is no universally mandated rush. But protracted delay carries its own risks. As awareness of this pathway grows, demand for services from authorized institutions may increase, potentially leading to processing delays. Furthermore, regulatory landscapes can evolve. Acting within a known, favorable framework is often wiser than waiting for unknown future changes. The principle of preparedness favoring the patient holder has never been more applicable. This legal provision also explicitly accommodates international holders. The pathway is designed to be universal, applying to investors regardless of their geographic location, as long as they engage through proper, authorized channels and fulfill all documentation requirements. This global applicability underscores the framework's intent to create a standardized, legitimate exit pathway for the currency. Within this, documentation reigns supreme, maintaining clear, immutable records of your holdings, your identity, and every step of the transaction is not just good practice, it is a mandatory component of the legal shield this framework provides. This traceability is essential for compliance and your lasting security. The zero tax potential is, understandably, the most compelling element for long-term holders. For years, the specter of tax liability has been a dark cloud over the entire Dinar narrative. This framework represents a concerted effort to dispel that cloud, allowing investors to contemplate accessing funds without the immediate fear of a confiscatory penalty. It transforms the equation from what might happen to here is the documented process. Let's also address scale. The framework provides clarity for significant holdings. Investors with large quantities of dinar can, in theory, navigate this process without facing disproportionate tax implications, provided the procedural requirements are met at scale. This is particularly critical for those whose investments represent substantial portions of their personal capital. It is paramount to internalize that this law serves a dual purpose: protecting the individual investor and safeguarding the integrity of the broader financial system. By channeling these exchanges through transparent, authorized institutions, you contribute to a more secure and accountable financial environment. This systemic benefit reinforces the legitimacy of the entire process. A crucial caveat must be emphasized: while the tax treatment may be favorable, reporting and documentation are unequivocally mandatory. There is no scenario where you can benefit from this framework while operating in the shadows. Full transparency is the price of this legal and potential financial benefit. Proper records are what make the exchange process defensible and smooth. For the international holder, the mantra is the same: authorized institutions, impeccable documentation, strict adherence to reporting guidelines. This triad ensures your exchange is recognized as legal and allows you to access the stipulated benefits. The emergence of this clarified pathway is being met with a mix of excitement and renewed caution within the Dinar community. It represents a tangible turning point, offering a legitimate structure where one was sorely lacking. It sets a precedent that government and regulatory bodies and provide clear guidance for complex asset classes, balancing the needs of compliance with the realities of investor position. For you, the investor, the immediate task is one of preparation. This is not a time for impulsive action, but for deliberate, informed movement. Your checklist is clear: gather and organize every shred of relevant documentation, research and verify authorized institutions with the utmost diligence. Educate yourself thoroughly on the REPORTING process. This preparatory work is what will ensure a smooth, compliant exchange and full enjoyment of the legal protections offered. Some may wonder about the macro impact. Could this influence the diner's market value? While the law itself does not set an exchange rate, it does something equally powerful. It injects confidence into the asterisk process asterisk. By reducing legal and tax uncertainty, it lowers a major barrier to entry and exit. This normalization of process can positively influence market sentiment and participation, which are foundational to any asset's liquidity and stability. In many ways, this development represents a historic recalibration. It seeks to remove the paralyzing uncertainty that has defined this asset class for many and replace it with a protocol for action. Patience, meticulous preparation, and strict adherence to the guidelines are the non-negotiable keys to navigating this opportunity. Successfully, compliance is not a suggestion, it is the mechanism of your protection. Attempting to bypass authorized channels or compromise on documentation doesn't just introduce risk, it fundamentally jeopardizes your standing and can create severe legal issues. The law's protection is conditional upon your full cooperation with its terms. Therefore, education is your most powerful tool. Taking the time to understand every step, every document, and every requirement is an investment in your own security in this arena. Knowledge doesn't just empower, it protects. The potential for a zero-tax outcome is a powerful incentive, finally addressing the deep-seated fear that has kept many holders on the sidelines. While timing is not dictated by a public deadline, a principle of prudent action applies. Moving forward in a prepared, timely manner ensures smoother processing, access to less congested institutional resources, and faster completion early. Deliberate action maximizes efficiency. Ultimately, this legal framework champions transparency. By demanding documented transactions and proper reporting, it fosters a secure, traceable, and legitimate exchange ecosystem. This transparency protects you, the individual, as much as it upholds the integrity of the financial system at large. It also strengthens confidence in the currency's pathway to legitimacy. By providing a clear, legal, and structured access point, it encourages responsible participation and demonstrates a formal commitment to bringing an opaque asset into the regulated financial light. For anyone holding Dinar today, the forward path, while demanding, is now better illuminated. The sequence is: work solely with authorized institutions, maintain flawless documentation, follow reporting guidelines without deviation, and act with prepared promptness. These steps form the bridge to a transaction that is legal, secure, and designed to minimize immediate tax consequences. The combination of clarified procedure, legal protection, and structured process makes this a definitive moment for Dinar holders. By acting with wisdom, diligence, and patience, investors can navigate toward accessing their funds through a sanctioned, safer, and more efficient pathway. Thank you for your time and attention today. If this analysis has provided valuable clarity, please consider supporting the channel. Stay informed, stay meticulous in your preparations, and above all, stay grounded in verified processes. I'll see you in the next discussion.